It's your boy Taco Phil here. Nice and early, fresh shaved, got my hair cut, all that good stuff. Got work tomorrow. Today I got off. So I was talking to, I got to meet a couple of the fellow watchers and a couple of guys who actually are going through the process. So I got to meet a really cool guy last night who was looking at the old buses, and he's from New York. He's getting ready to be a driver out there. And I realized I never really told you guys my whole history with Greyhound and why I wanted to work with Greyhound. You know, there are a lot of companies you can work with as a bus driver. I think the majority of people start off working for City. You know, we have a lot of metro drivers who come over to Greyhound. And for me, you know, it's not a money thing. I mean, they pay well, but there are jobs, obviously, that pay better. I actually grew up on Greyhound. Yeah, I grew up on Greyhound. So I was born and raised back in a small town called Stamford, Connecticut, you know, which is just about 30 minutes, 40 minutes north of New York City. So we took Greyhound a lot, just being on the East Coast. If you grew up in those areas, in those small towns, Greyhound was the main way to get around. And then my mother and my father had separated. My mother's family stayed in Connecticut, and my father, he moved to California. So, you know, my mother was just postal worker, and she didn't have a lot of money. So every summer, I would go visit my dad. She would put me on a Greyhound bus, and I would spend the 3 day or 3.5 day journey going from New York to Los Angeles. I've done the route going from New York up to Chicago, Chicago through Denver, all the way down to Los Angeles. I've done the run from New York to Florida, and Florida over to Los Angeles down to 10. So I've done a long. I used to do it from back in like '93 to about. The last time I took that journey was back in '98. Yeah, from '93 to '98, I took. I used to take that bus, and that was the old red, white, and blues, or the MC12, MC9s. So I used to ride them on a regular. And then my dad, he had money because he worked in the entertainment business, and so every time he would send me back home after the summer, I would fly. You know, so you know. Plus, he had his private pilot's license, so he would take us flying all the time. So that created those two passions for me. You know, flying every summer, and then taking the bus every summer. And one of the cool things I loved about being on a Greyhound, especially if you're on a Greyhound for a long few days, was it was kind of like roughing it. You're roughing it, you know. You're living in, you know, because you're keeping fresh in like truck store bathrooms. You're eating stuff on the road. You know, it's just like you're living on that bus. You're changing buses. But another cool thing is you you create like this pseudo family. You know, you always have those few people you bond with, and you just spend days with them. You know, you eat together, you sit together, you know, you change buses, you know, you make sure that you stay together and all that good stuff. And that's pretty cool. You know, I used to love that camaraderie, just that family. I always met like some really cool people and spent a lot of time with these people on the buses. So that was like my every summer. You know, I did that, and that's how I got around. So you know, I just, you know, was just always fascinated with the mechanisms of the Greyhound buses. You know, this person maneuvering this massive vehicle, and you know, taking people from state to state. And you know, I find that you get a lot of people, they're changing their life on the Greyhound. You know, on a plane, you see a lot of people going to visit people, but on the Greyhound, I think it's because you get a lot of people with it's the cheapest way to take a lot of stuff at once. You know, I'll see a lot of people who have, you know, 3, 4 bags, boxes sometimes, because you know, when you're taking a Greyhound, I've seen a lot of people on a Greyhound. They're moving. You know, they're changing their entire life. They're not going to visit some family. They're not going to, you know, just, you know, the majority of them are changing their entire life. They're moving to a whole new place. You know, they're moving out of one situation into another. So, you know, when I load my passengers, you know, I don't just take their ticket and just go. I ask each and every person, where you heading? What's your final destination? And, a lot of times, yeah, I'll get like, let's say I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going from LA to San Francisco. And I'm like, all right. And then sometimes I'll get, oh, I'm going to, moving in with my girl. I just broke up with my ex girlfriend, and I've been dating this girl for a bit, and moving in with her, and she lives in San Francisco. Or I'll get some. Oh yeah, my he goes, I work here, and my wife lives there, or I'm a trucker, and I'm traveling all the way to this new place, to go, buy this new house, or oh, my daughter, just had a baby, and so you get those stories, and that's pretty cool. You don't get, if you're just a pilot, you don't get those stories, you don't get those people, you don't get people transitioning their entire lives, pretty much on the road, but you get that on Greyhound, and I think that's fascinating. You get a lot of like recently we get a lot of the whatchamacallit, the migrants, I guess you can call them. Yeah, the new migrants, they just came over the border. They're being host. They're going through host families. They're going to shelters. They're going to immigration, and they have their entire life on their back. A lot of them just have like one or two bags, and they are brand new in the country, and they're being transported to their new life. They're meeting family members. They're going to shelters. They're going to programs. So this is their whole life. They're new to the country. This is their first time seeing the country. They got whatever little money that was given to them. They are this is in one of those few environments where you meet people who are just going to a new place to start something completely new. And I think that's fascinating. It's amazing, and that was me. I was that kid who was on the bus, and they were just like, "Where are you going?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm going to see my dad." This is something we do every summer, and this is part of my life. So that's my whole history with Greyhound. What I'd love to hear is your guys' history on Greyhound. When was the first time you guys took Greyhound? How long have you been on a Greyhound? Or say, what's the longest ride you've done? For me, it was 3.5 days taking that New York to LA run. Has anybody done longer? It doesn't have to just be in the U.S. You could have taken a Canada run or whatever. When was the earliest that you were on a Greyhound? I think the youngest I was on a Greyhound was probably like maybe 12. Yeah, my mom and I used to take the Greyhound, and they didn't have technology back then, so we used to Archie comics. I read a lot of Archie comics. I did a lot of crossword puzzles. Did a lot of reading. I did a lot of reading. So that's how I lived on the Greyhound. So yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' Greyhound stories. If you want to post a video and link it, so I can check it out, or if you want to just leave some comments, I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm gonna try and do a video for some of you guys who are asking about the logs. Okay. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, and keep you guys updated. I've been working on my days off, doing my whole pilot thing, so that has been keeping me busy. I haven't been able to post as much, so I can try to post a couple videos here. All right, so talk to you guys later.